hit this faster timing to stall out the game, to stop the push, start to shove out yourself, and start to get work done. Again, historically, BBT has managed to take out Nouns consistently in this past year. Game 1 certainly showing the results of that research. We'll have to see if they can bounce back in Game 2 here.
We certainly will, Don. We'll head back to our panel and see what they have to say about this Game 1.
We're going to try our best. I mean, Jenkins, you as a Noun supporter, quite obviously, any silver linings for them?
I think the one kill that they got was excellent. They did a good job with that. The double deny from Gunner also was kind of showing that, yeah, you can take you can kind of take the game and win the game, and you can also have 25 kill advantage on us and a 25k gold lead. But hey,
at the end of the day,
you can't take our buildings.
Only we can take our buildings.
They were very defiant. They stood by that one. We were wondering where Tinker might sit in this event. TI, how is he? Because 2 weeks ago, in a couple of other events leading up to this, massive priority in the support role there. Finally, we see it. I mean, it didn't take too long for us to see it, but I would say paired with the Disruptor, it just didn't really do much. This support combo for me was very lackluster, Winter.
I mean, it's not really fair this game, I felt, because they lost the lanes so hard. Disruptor plus Tinker, maybe the idea is Tinker is not a hero that provides you with catch, so they wanted a partner that has catch with Glimpse, but Disruptor is not the greatest in the lane.
Yeah,
and I feel like Tinker as a position 4 kind of feels like a 5, because you are buying all the team items, you're not really like doing damage, you're just mitigating a lot of damage.
But I feel like even Disruptor isn't guaranteed either. I think there were better 5s that could have guaranteed better lockdown or better catch that could have maybe paired more. So I think it's just the mix of the two in my mind.
They need a more stable laner, I felt like. Okay. Like Disruptor is not a stable laner.
We honestly just didn't see much of anything from Nouns this game,
yeah.
Unfortunately. And I think it really comes down to play more than anything. They didn't pass the BB team test. For me, it's just like, this team is so good at laning stage.
I agree.
And if you lose all 3 lanes to this team, this is just how it's going to look. Heroes could be part of it, but it's mainly going to be play. They just kind of got outplayed this game. They did have the heroes to deal with it in some capacity. I feel like the Tinker against, maybe this is why they picked the Ursa I talked about, like he wants to get on top of the Sand King, burst him before that damage comes out. Tinker doesn't help too much against that as compared to having like a stun. So you lose that lane, you're obviously going to lose versus the DK versus Quap matchup. The Quap isn't going to win there. I thought they'd do a little bit better with the CK Disruptor lane, because that lane is honestly pretty strong. It should be in theory, but unfortunately no luck there either. They just lost all 3 lanes, and against BB team, that's the one thing you don't want to happen, because they're just so good at snowballing games.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I thought then there still could have been a possibility of coming together as a 5 and trying to get a pick-off. It's not like, BB team, sure, they're really good at lanes, but we've also seen them time and time again kind of fall back into still wanting to farm up. They don't always necessarily just push and invade your part. They're not a team that's just like, okay, we win lanes now, let's take over triangle, move along over to their safe lane, and then to the racks. They're a team that does still like to eventually fall back and have some farm. And I think as Nouns, you could try and find something, but maybe that's also hopeful because of how bad the
They had one chance when the Disruptor smoked and he missed the combo into the Ursa.
I don't know. That was already, the game was like so over.
Yeah, but that was like the only chance.
I was thinking along the same lines as you, maybe not necessarily when it comes to like grouping up in 5-manning, but like switching the lanes, switching the supports. Like maybe putting the Disruptor against the Ursa would look a lot better, but then you're playing a Disruptor into Enchantress, who is going to destroy you with creeps and right clicks, and you're this slow harass hero who's playing into a hero that's going to heal through it, especially with this overprotective Wisps facet. So because of the Ench, they couldn't swap the Disruptor to the lane. So because of that, there's a Tinker now in the lane protecting a Sand King with a dispellable shield that Enchantress can dispel. Right. So both supports are countered by Ench, and then Sand King is countered by Ursa. That's why they last picked it. You just run them down a lane, especially with the Dust Devil facet, if there's no invis to
and they also swapped the DK mid, and they got a good matchup there, so they basically kind of just
did
all favorable lanes.
This is classic BB team. Really I totally agree with Fear. This is just the classic BB team. They win all 3 lanes. They just look like the superior team. The draft almost doesn't matter. Like, Nouns just has to, I mean, they can draft for better lanes, but they also just have to lane better. They have to make some move that is giving them some advantage against BB team
Maybe Copium here want to chalk it up to first game, maybe a little nerves. It just felt like timid gameplay all around. You're timid in lane and you lose them, then you're not even really trying to make anything on the map for yourself, despite how difficult it is. I just want to see them come together with a little bit more aggression, something that I think has found very good success for them in the past.
They did come together in this game once with, we actually have a highlight here, replay.
Really?
Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull up. Computer, roll the clip. This is going to be the one
17-0 right now, right?
Yeah, it's 17-0. Not looking so good. And this is how much they have to commit to just kill GPK here. He almost doesn't even go down. And Queen of Pain has to suicide in order to get that ult off to take him down through all of that. So that's just the position that they were in.
Yeah.
I mean...
Nobody 22-0's America.
No. That's right. We get an American flag on the screen production.
We might need a little bit of time. Maybe if Nouns take game number 2, we can get that one going for you there, Jenkins. And it's a best of 2 for group stage, so they're going to have another chance here to at least be able to tie it up for themselves. We saw the previous series between Talon and Tundra. It was really rough for Talon in that first game, but they made great adjustments in their draft to be able to take some picks for themselves that Tundra had just done well on, and they were able to get that. Could we see similar for Nouns? Do you see any of those heroes having to be placed now in the ban phase, or even you go, okay, maybe we take that one for ourselves. Maybe Enchantress is going to be our support that we need to pick up first.
Maybe. I want to go back to like the talk we had before the game started on the Sand King. I said Sand King definitely has some flaws as a hero, especially in competitive, whereas like ranked, it's a little bit different. And I feel like BB Team really exploited the Sand King. I think you really need to look at that Sand King again and be like, that really did not work out, and make some changes. Whether you change the Tinker support, maybe you put it mid, whatever it might be. But like, I think they need to start there. That was their first pick of the game. It went horribly. Gunnar had a really bad game. The Ursa just got too far ahead, and I feel like there's more heroes that can do that to the Sand King. So I would start there if you are Nouns. And you do have to start on the laning stage, because that's BB Team. If you lose all 3 lanes to this team looks like the best team in the world. And this is why a lot of teams, a lot of people put them in their top 3 every single tournament, because they see games like this, like, who's going to beat this team? And it just comes down to their superior, like, individual skill.
They put them in the top 3, but not the top 2.
Yeah. That's reserved.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely one of the best laning teams, and like Fear mentioned, I think I would try to prioritize supports that are better in the lane. Like if I'm going to open with the Sand King again, I really have to pair it up with something like maybe just get the Snapfire, you know? Just make sure the lane's stable.
There's also an argument for comfort. Maybe if not necessarily better in the lane, but you just know the little tricks,
the details, but you're going to be limited by the matchup. If you're opening a draft and with a hero, I think you need to make sure like the core has a lane no matter what, because you're already picking it as your opening pick.
Yeah.
So that has to be the top.
Maybe a mix of both, because I don't see Gunnar as a huge, like, oh, Gunnar Sand King. This is like, you know, I'm gushing over this. Like his, you know, off lane, I would say like Tusk, Wyvern, Earth Spirit. These are the mids that when he was a mid player for so long, he would play that were kind of
he also just stand in. He also just stand. I feel like you're going really like Gunnar specific offlaners. You can't forget, like, he still does play the standards of like the Centaurs, potentially even the Slaughters, the Marses. Like, these are things that he can also play as well. Like, I do also see them fall in his comfort. So they don't have to go too crazy with the draft and the adjustments.
Yeah, you never want to over adjust.
Yeah.
For sure. Like if you can,
you don't have to all of a sudden be like, oh, Earth Spirit Wyvern, guys, look at infamy.
But I would argue that like Gunnar on Centaur, to me, is a very similar thing to Gunnar on Sand King. He's like fine at both of these heroes. Whereas if I saw Gunnar on Tusk or Wyvern, it's like he invented this hero. You know, like he was playing this stuff on mid before anybody else was. Yeah. I would love to see him on that, just because I'm a Gunnar fan. If it wasn't obvious, but I do think like a mix of better laning and comfort would probably be ideal, and it probably comes from the supports, to be honest.
Well, let's talk about lane stabilizers and supports then. What comes to mind when you during this meta as well that you want to be able to see?
I mean, I think in general for Sand King, like his biggest weakness is his level 1 to 2. It's better than it was in the past, but I feel like you need to pair Sand King with the hero like a Hoodwink or something that can really just carry him through that first couple levels, right? And then if you do get free farm or you don't get punished in the first couple levels on Sand King, then you just kind of take over the lane, you farm everything, they can't really go into your Sandstorm, and you become a really strong hero. Tinker doesn't really do that. Like, you have one laser and you can drop the March machines, but Ursa doesn't care about
No.
that too much. He's going to keep chasing you down. Tinker can't do anything. So maybe pick a pos 4 that can either punish you if you overcommit with like some Shadow Demon poison stacks or a Hoodwink with a Bushwhack and Acorn. Like those things could help.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned the Dark Willow as well. I wouldn't mind seeing her.
That's good too.
The last time we saw her in... Oh, I'm not going to say competitive. I'm just going to say when we saw her last TI, at TI 12, she was actually in the carry position. So we weren't really seeing her picked up as a support. So I'd like to see her have
I mean, that was like to counter Muerta, right?
Yes, yes. It was very hit and miss. Some people looked great on it. Other people, unfortunately, got knocked out of the tournament from it. So it's rough. Either way, would like to see it come back as a support. That's one that I would like to see is Dark Willow. But you obviously have your more standard ones, the Hoodwink that you have.
I think Dark Willow is very similar to Snapfire. Like you're strong in the first few levels, and you're really good in the team fights. I mean, they nerfed the ulti, so you can't use it on your teammate. But overall, I feel like she still provides a lot of value in the team fights if you get a good terrorize off.
Yeah.
I just think it fits the same role as Hoodwink in terms of
You would rather Hoodwink.
very. I think.
I mean, Hoodwink's
She's
different
been
because
nerfed.
Hoodwink is like greedier. You want to try to play.
No, I'm saying
and
in
scale.
terms of what they would want from it, which is just a hero that will carry through level 1 through 3. Like Willow and Hoodwink are, to me, like equivalent in terms of very few like 5s and carries can trade with a Hoodwink. Like you can play into a complete counter, and the Dark will just sit there, keep hitting you. You ever commit, she throws some brambles down. It does more damage at level 1 than like any other spell if you run through the brambles, and you can play on top of them, so they have to run through them to kill you. It's a similar concept. Just not a good hero. Like I think Hoodwink's also.
That was a
not
lot
my
of words to
favorite hero.
say she's worse than Hoodwink.
But I think that's why.
I think the playstyle's just changed for pos 4s. Like is Hoodwink and Willows, they don't really build a lot of items for the team. Like we're seeing more and more of. Where Hoodwink is, I'm just gonna play for myself, be a bit more greedy. I feel like that style is fading out a little bit. Not entirely sure. I'm gonna keep an eye on the position 4 hero pool. I think they're in a strange spot right now.
It's funny to say that, and then we see people picking up Sniper Pos 4, which I think is very
Well, he can build auras.
But people are building auras on him.
true.
Yeah.
But
It's like
that's
he
not to say-
transitions from lane winning to.
But that's not to say you can't do that in Hood. It's just traditionally you don't because.
That's the hero then. They didn't pick Sniper with Sank.
I mean,
There you go.
Snapfire.
But then we don't have
Snapfire's
that lockdown that we. in the test
Snapfire's
that we just
good. I
talked
feel
about.
like
I mean,
Snapfire's
he
is
has the
great.
damage though. Like you need one of two things. You either
Right.
need,
That's true.
if they go onto the Sand King with your Ursa, the Ursa needs to die before the Sand King, and maybe Sniper can achieve that, right? Because he has the high burst damage.
or something to make the trade not worth it, which
Yeah.
requires some like really strong early game nuke, which I think Snapfire is great for.
That's good too. Yeah.
And she actually does.
But BB
build,
team had that hero.
She does build the team items. Yeah, and also the Enchantress we've seen win 3 games in a row on the mainstream.
We have,
Like,
yes.
This hero just seems to be, despite having the enchant just nerfed, where you're gaining less XP every time you take a creep, it still seems.
It
busted
doesn't matter, right?
conceptually.
Because like she fits all the criteria of what you want from a support right now. Like strong in lane, builds
Buys team
auras,
items.
right? Not too greedy,
Does damage.
and does damage.
Scales, yeah.
So like, and then, like that's kind of where like the Hoodwink we just haven't seen right now. I gave Hoodwink because that's just like my automatic
Of course,
response.
yeah,
of
we
how
are
to
doubling
win.
down on Hoodwink specifically, but you're
Yeah.
talking more broadly as well.
Yeah, because I think the meta has shifted and people aren't really looking at these type of Hoodwink heroes and Dark Willow position 4s that, strong in lane, but later on in the game, that's not the type of hero that you want on POS 4 in this particular meta.
I think a really strong offlane that would be like very this meta, at least today, we'll see how this changes in the next few days, is like SD Centaur. These are 2 very strong heroes. Currently, SD's
Classic.
one of the, it's a classic like lane winner. And then SD plays into
I
the
mean, is
healing
this
meta
still a lane
incredibly
winner
well.
right now? I feel like SD Centaur is not as strong as before.
Yeah, that's a giga lane winner, dude. I would love to see what sort of safe lane.
I mean, SD, in my opinion, is stronger in the safe lane than as a POS 4, but still really good. Because like, it's just ridiculous. Like your right clicks
because
increase.
you're really good at trading. in
Yeah,
the
you
side.
just like you really win any side like jungle type of trading.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't go over there. You can't block the small camp because you're just gonna die if you do. Whereas a POS 4, you can stack more. That's like definitely good, but it's not as good for like just trading with the other.
But wouldn't you say that he works better with the offlane heroes right now, since they're all range heroes on the carry?
I mean, I personally am not entirely sure, but what I see in Shadow Demons, they're just trading with the other supports, and eventually he solo kills them.
Yeah,
And that's generally like
that's what I'm
most
seeing
of
as
the.
well.
So he like kind of isolates it into a 1v1 versus 1v1 type of matchups, because like I think in general like he doesn't add a lot to the actual laning stage itself.
Oh, look, we're finally going to be seeing
yeah.
a Naga let through. I mean, this time round with BB Team having first pick, Nouns decide for themselves that even though they just lost on Sand King, they don't really have the answers for it. They think maybe BB Team is going to be able to do more with it. They take it out. Naga let through, picked up, and then in a response, it's going to be
This
tough.
is definitely not a trade I feel good about. Getting a
You know what's
touch
really
over Naga.
annoying about this Naga support right now? The most
No, I don't.
annoying part about it is you don't know if it's a support. So you still have to counter it, right? You still have to pick like a lot of AoE, which the support Naga doesn't really care about that much. So you're in a situation where it's a flex. It can be technically a carry, but at the same time, it's a support. So you have to eventually pick like some gyrocopter carry or some Ember. And then if it's a support, all of a sudden this Naga's countering your Ember because he's going to sleep you and net you and root you.
Yeah.
It's just very bizarre. It's very hard to draft against. I
How do
feel.
you play support Naga differently to a core Naga for people who might
It's
not have seen it
mostly
yet?
the early game.
10
Like
seconds
you're securing your lane for your carry, and on top of that, you're giving your team
5
like
seconds
huge team
remaining.
fight with the song. You heal. You have a reliable catch with song into and snare setup, and later you can shove out all the lanes, with your illusions and deluge. So you're gonna be fat no matter what.
Yeah, I also just got word that across all the streams, all the games that have been played, Naga has been banned in all of them. So this is the very first time that she's been let through. So I guess
Yeah.
that 100% contest rate's still there.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a
Fair.
25% win rate in my pubs, but
He's not. She's
I'm
not good in top.
overall. But like when I played Naga, I went 10-0. So.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. I thought you meant just on Naga. And I'm like,
No,
you're
no,
not
no.
building her up at all.
I have not lost a game on this hero, and I played 10 games to support with it. It's
Wow.
incredibly broken. Maybe I lost one. Maybe I'm 9-1. Who knows?
Yeah,
But it wasn't my
you just
fault.
like give your team like too much in the
10
early game. Your
seconds
early
remaining.
game plus the first couple of team fights with a song. Like I always feel like I can never lose the team fight when I have Naga.
Yeah, because you just leave the fight if it's bad. You just press song and everybody TP's out.
Yeah, they've just—it's insane now. The song heals you for your mana and max HP. So if everyone's in trouble, you pop it. They're getting healed. The shard makes it twice as good, which is also really cool. And on top of that, like you're gonna have Greaves, so it kind of fits the meta of like healing type of synergy. And then on top of it, just the Deluge. It's a unique mechanic that only one hero in the game has, where it reduces status resistance. And that can apply to a lot of different things. Like the net will be longer, blood grenades in the laning stage will be longer,
10
which is
seconds
very
remaining.
strong as well. And you can pair it with a lot of different heroes. Alina stun will be longer, whatever it
5
might be. Like
seconds
no other
remaining.
hero can reduce your status resistance like that.
I mean, the real in also finally
It's
has
very
been
good.
buffed
And not to mention
enough times that it's good.
but the 40 mana that it costs at level 1, 45 mana.
Next to nothing.
BB teams turn to
I really like, by the way, this progression for heroes. Is I remember when Marcy first came out, and she just felt so busted because she had this repositioning sort of mobility toolkit that no one else really had. And over the time since we've had her added into the game, everyone else, every other hero is slowly getting either like a
10
repositioning
seconds
or a
remaining.
mobility way in their toolkit, whether that's through Ags or
5
Shard
seconds
or a
remaining.
facet or something like that. And I really enjoyed seeing now how you can place priority differently based on what exactly is needed to either counteract or improve your mobility and
Yeah.
displacement.
I mean, she has two unique mechanics, right? Like,
Yeah.
even Deluge caps your max move speed. So if you hit a Weaver or something, he's Sakuchi's just gonna slowly walk away.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, impacting mobility in a very unique and different way. It's good. It's nice to see just how different it is. Snapfire, though, being picked up yet again within this series, but swapping sides here because Nouns thought it was way too difficult to deal with and something they want for themselves.
And that's what we wanted to see as well,
10
right? Like,
seconds
these two heroes are.
A support duo, like
Much
a more
stronger.
stable support
Yeah.
duo, like
5
plus
seconds
Snapfire.
remaining.
I mean, I personally don't think that Disruptor CK is a weak lane. I feel like that lane should be strong. I feel like they just got outplayed up there. They'll just have to tighten up some gameplay a little bit for Nouns, because I feel like a lot of it is, yes, of course, BB Team's really good in strong laning stage, but I feel like Nouns didn't play up to their potential as well in that game number 1. So having better heroes is definitely going to help, but they're also going to have to step up their individual gameplay.
Yeah, that lane is definitely not supposed to lose.
Yeah.
Disruptor CK is like some of the highest kill threat you can
Now
imagine.
is
Do you
esports.
think all three of these heroes the BB team has picked can be flexed to many roles?
Every
This is-
role.
This isn't a very annoying draft to draft against.
It's like we could
currently.
potentially be seeing 3 cores here, you know?
These could be 3 cores, yeah.
We're not going to. That would be quite insane, but
10 seconds
So I know
remaining.
Toronto Tokyo does play Naga and Bat a lot.
Yes, he plays both.
5 seconds
I'm not sure
remaining.
if I don't know. Do you think they have any potential to play Naga 4? I have a feeling that Monkey will just be a core here.
I was thinking it's going to be a monkey core.
Yeah.
Most likely.
I think if you're putting Bat in support,
Save is really good at bat.
exactly,
support, yeah.
you want to put it on someone who has shown time
I
and
mean,
time
there are only
again to
few
play with it.
people that actually play bad mid. I think Thompson is one of them, like with the arsonist
Okay.
facet. You kill the buildings. I remember seeing him doing that.
It's underrated. That's actually good. It has a higher win rate than the other facet.
As a core, right?
Yeah.
Not as a
Not as a support. Good
Could
lord.
you imagine a support doing that?
How are you going
Just
to
backdoor the buildings.
scuff to Leshrac?
Yeah, I think
Or
it's either
NP.
going to go mid for Bat, and then if you put it on support, it would be 4, which would put the Naga on 5. And
Yeah, I think Naga is, unless you drop 0 AoE for nouns, because it could still be a carry. Naga's going to be 5 or 1.
yeah,
Monkey King is going to be either 4 or mid, I think.
Honestly,
Maybe 1.
a monkey plus Naga lane doesn't sound that bad. Like the real in with monkey getting a bunch of
Yeah.
Jingu stacks, that sounds
I mean,
very
the
good.
large plus the
Jenkins,
plus the
how have you
slow.
not caught on with Ench being picked up for nouns? Where do you think the Tusk is going?
Could still be a mid snap fire there.
Of
Snap
course,
could
but don't you want to hype it up at the potential?
It's gonna be an offlane Tusk. I feel like Gunnar is he's making this call. He's like, just pick me the Tusk. I'll carry the team with it.
No. He's gonna say it's a carry monkey. I want to be Snapfire. I don't want to be a melee hero.
I think he doesn't care after that first game. That was a 20-0 scenario.
Yeah, it was really rough.
I mean,
There's what I'm saying is there is more flexibility on nouns than we might have let on when we only first
Yeah.
saw the 2 picks. And then with Ench and Reza coming out, we're like, okay, the flexibility is also there for nouns on
10
where they could move
seconds
things. Snap
remaining.
as a support, as a mid, Tusk as an off lane, or as a support.
they failed the Naga test here. Like, you just put Naga carry now. What do you do?
You don't think there's a last pick that could?
I don't think so.
I also think Naga carry.
No.
I think you can just put Naga carry now. Not a single one of these heroes is good. Maybe
No.
Snap later, but that's way later.
And that's if you take the Ricochet
Yeah.
facet specifically.
I mean, he's going mid, so he's going to take it.
Yeah, everybody knows playing for hyper late games really good right now. So
Yeah.
I
It'll definitely secure you the win.
Yeah, that'll be it for now.
Batrider can, I mean, honestly, I feel like Monkey should not go mid. It should go pos 4. It should go pos 5 on Bat. Pick something. I mean, Monkey works well with all the Zoo heroes. That looks pretty good here, too.
Just go beast.
Take your pick. Yeah, I mean, take your pick. Doesn't really matter. I think you do pick Miro's hero right here.
Beast into Ench. I mean, I like Ench in general against the way that BB team likes to draft for Miro. It's good against all the summons.
Visage time, you know?
Visage or Enigma, maybe
Visage,
better.
Enigma. Nah, not Enigma versus Ench. That's a little hard. Visage would be good, though. But they'll do Primal. Don't hate it. Not sure where it's going still.
Still don't know where they're putting their heroes.
That could be mid. That could be in the off lane. I'm assuming that's off lane because they don't have a way of stopping his onslaught here. So if you do get linked, you can just disengage that. And then, yeah.
5 seconds.
Well, that
Can we
makes
do 5 monkey? Is that a possibility?
5 out of no 4.
I mean, monkey's pretty good versus Razor too. So even if they do Naga plus monkey lane, I just want to see those 2 lane together, I think. And I want to see the bat with the primal, and I want to see GPK pick up the last hero here.
Yeah, bad with Primal. I think it's really good against the Razor. Again, both of you have a way to get away from the link.
10 seconds.
But what lanes for
remaining.
Snap? That's like kind of a difficult question as well. This hero is
5
incredibly strong in
seconds
the laning
remaining.
stage. I think they picked it to kind of like
Turn to
deny
ban.
the monkey from going mid. Because that's definitely not a good matchup.
I wonder how you're going to do this last phase of bans then, because if we're still having a couple of questions of where everything is going, BB team taking out Dragon
Turn
Knight,
to ban.
Nouns, Weaver and Puck. I
So
feel
they
like
don't
2
know.
very opposite
They
ends
don't
of the
know.
They don't know.
spectrum. Yeah, like that's an insane difference on what you're banning out there.
I mean, they're just highly mobile heroes, which they have no catch for, right? But they also have no answer to Naga illusions as well, so
10 seconds.
I mean, there's still a Zeus.
they have last pick.
They could pick like, something like a Zeus to deal with it if it's a carry now.
remaining.
Yeah,
5
but the thing is,
seconds
when
remaining.
I play Naga,
Who makes the
one
moves?
counter isn't enough.
If they pick a Zeus, I would just be so worried about like who does anything in the Tusk that's against the carry Naga.
What about I was going to say Luna, but I feel like
Yeah, they banned DK. I think they're setting up for this Naga to be
keep
the
going.
carry.
Okay, well, BB team are gonna have to show everything first,
And
so
Meepo?
Nouns have a little bit of.
Yeah, that's actually a really
Leeway.
good
That's
bet.
good. That's a good.
It's good against the carry now. Okay, maybe
Alright,
not
but
carry.
they go troll.
Wow, they actually
Troll
banned,
into Razor.
they banned Meepo and then picked Troll, and Troll is considered one of the hardest counters to Meepo because you
And
destroy
Troll is
the Mega
also
Meepo.
considered the worst hero versus Razor.
Yeah, that's quite disrespectful. I'll say they're
They
gonna
like to put all of your
10 seconds
preconceptions
remaining.
about the game out the window.
they're gonna regret that.
Whoa, whoa.
So this is definitely what a
5
monkey mid
seconds
with a
remaining.
bat plus primal off lane.
All right, how do we exploit this? Yeah, I think you definitely put Snap mid at this point. Razor's your carry.
You say how do we exploit this as in America?
That's like a panel, like
Oh,
our
I see.
collective minds.
Okay, well, yeah. How do we win this, guys?
Viper.
I mean, Razor could go off lane technically
Now,
with a Tusk. That's not a bad lane.
is there a
So they could pick a new carry here. Is Lena in the pool?
Lena is in the pool? Yeah.
Ursa, when in doubt,
Now select your
Ursa
They're out.
into Troll,
Ursa it out.
the hero that hard counters.
This is
What's
very
going on?
bizarre.
What is going on with these drafts?
Yeah, Troll, by
So-
the way, is the best hero in the game versus Ursa.
Yeah, so Troll, just to be clear, rushes Ags. When you-
Look, aren't you glad you hyped up the Tusk?
oh, it's Gunner
offlane?
Tusk actually. All right, hell yeah.
which is
I don't
Good
think
call,
I
Jenkins.
don't think it's gonna work.
which is
I don't think it's gonna work
which
here.
is
but
really bad versus Troll.
that's
I don't know anymore. Like so these guys are really good. They've been scrimming a lot, and Dota has been changing so drastically. It's very hard to keep up with. It's really, really hard. And all your ideas about the game, like, just get flipped on its head. Like, just last patch, it's like, DK versus Razor mid. I was like, Razor should win this. DK dumpstered him every single game. So now it's just, I'm just want to wait and watch and see what these teams have in store.
No, I like the adjustments. I feel like they're on the
For
right track.
Nouns? For
Yeah, for Nouns. I mean, they're trying to just pick heroes that can lane better, more stable lanes, and not try to be too fancy with their picks. I like it.
Even the Tusk offlane, you don't think is too fancy?
I think it's okay.
Okay. And very quickly, Jenkins, because you hyped up the offlane Tusk, and you talked to Gunnar about it. Do you want to give insight as to what you think he's going to build, how to play it out?
he
How
told me what he's
consistent-
gonna build.
I know he did, and
He
you don't
told
remember
me.
it, do you?
No, I do remember.
Okay.
He said I mean, this is just, you'll see it in this game. He's gonna get a.
Is it the same every time?
It's roughly the same. Yeah, it's like blink dagger, pipe, that sort of thing. You're building kind of regular aura items, and then into eventual scaling with like the Aghanim Scepter late game. So it's pretty normal offlane stuff mixed in with a little bit of the mid-tusk behavior.
Yeah. Well, look, it's only our second series here on mainstream of day number 1. We've already got a bit of a unique pick coming out, so let's head on into game number 2 with Mike and John.
Well, thank you so much, Nat. We do get into game 2 here between BBT and Nouns. Jonathan, I mean, our panel did seem a little bit confused about the way these drafts did end. You and I were a little bit confused as well. Who do you think came out on top? Like, do Nouns have a good chance in game 2?
They have a better chance than they did in game 1. I think that
Okay.
That's
a good
that's a good start. Yeah, that's game 1. I think I've already forgotten. I think I'm with the NA fans. I don't. There was a game 1. I don't remember watching.
Never
that.
happened.
Nothing like a 24-1 score line. No. And that's exactly what Nouns should be doing as well. Just forget that game. It didn't exist. Try to play your game out here. It's a rather interesting draft. You've got the Razor mid for copy into a Monkey King matchup from GPK. You've got the Razor eventually to deal with the Troll, but then you have the Troll to deal with the Ursa. You have this Gunner offlane Tusk that we haven't seen in forever. We heard Jenkins would have built something like Blink and Pipe, a mix of auras and a little bit of touch of that mid Tusk in. I'm going to be really interested to see if Gunner has a much better lane than last time. There should be more play here. I mean, you've got a lot more potential to run down with the damage you have from Lelis this time around, so it should lead to a better time. And if Gunner has a game, there is a connection to be made here for Nouns this time.
It certainly is. A bit of damage being spread out here. Not too much to really write home about, as seems like most of that was Toronto Tokyo taking some damage out. Still, we can start as usual with the mid lane, of course, where you are going to have Copy, against GPK. It's a Razor vs Monkey King matchup, so you'd have to assume Copy should have a pretty decent advantage.
Yeah, it should be pretty happy for the Razor. Obviously, you're not going to get too much static links off, but it's still going to cut off how much GPK can farm up. I'm really interested to see what GPK will do with a Simian Stride. Like if he's going to look for early rotations, try to leverage this for rune control, call his supports in here while he hangs in tree line for initiation. There's a lot of angles with core monkeys going into Simeon Stride now as well. But laning-wise, Copy should just be perfectly fine. He can create spacing with a plasma field. He can always threaten if the jump is there with a static link. And that will make this a little bit more of a passive lane for GPK. More passive than I think a Monkey King would necessarily want. Although, you still have to watch for a little bit of that damage from the Boundless. There is still some play for GPK to just shove and farm up here safely.
Certainly is. Look at that top lane, John. You've got Psyker and Toronto Tokyo against Gunnar. And of course, Lelis. And here we go. They're going to make the chase. Toronto Tokyo, he will land the deluge. And, well, Lelis will survive this time around. The thing is, though, you and I were speaking about this while the draft was ongoing. And it does feel like the Troll Naga lane, it feels pretty busted in the right arm, in the right hands, rather. And I wonder how Gunnar will deal with it here with Lelis. It just seems like this should be a pretty scary lane if you are now.
And it is, especially as the levels go up for Toronto Tokyo once he has the end snare to set up. Get the deluge off, you get a couple of lucky roots out from Saika, it's going to last forever. Of course, there is, again, more play here from Nouns. Gunnar with the early tag team with a long-range poke that the Snapfire has this time with a Scatter Blast. It certainly is a lot more playable than the last game with a Sand King Tinker. That lane just felt super passive. This time around, Gunnar can look to pressure in, and it is making it slightly uncomfy for Saika. Every single time Toronto Tokyo's been walking up with the deluge, he has been getting blasted in back with a Scatter Blast and just prevents that connection that they want to play off of here for BBT. So just heads up positioning from Lelis to keep that damage kind of tied in. Of course, for Toronto Tokyo, the one big thing with the Naga, with the illusions, is it's going to be really easy to manage this lane. Get some pulls, get some stacks going. That economy build-up for Saika is going to ramp up real quick if you don't keep track of it here from Lelis.
Absolutely. And the final lane, of course, you're looking at it right now. Miro and Save against Fly and Yuma. For now, it seems like Yuma's having a bit of a challenging time, as Save is able to just kind of zone them out with all the sticky napalm spam. So Miro is going to be off to another great start. And the thing is, with the Ursa versus Primal Beast matchup, you know, usually the Ursa would be able to bully him out just a little bit. But not so much the case right now with Save on the Bat Rider, just ensuring that Miro can close the gap and secure that farm.
Yeah, gets a little bit awkward to try to play with, say, Enchant and Earthshock Aggression onto Miro. Sure, he doesn't have Onslaught, but he gets a little bit more durable as you commit with the Uproar. There's the Flame Break to worry about from Save. And you don't really want to take that risk right now.
Micah?
Oh.
They're going to try with the shards, but Toronto's coming in to help out, and well, they're not really doing enough damage. Gunner's going to be forced to try and run away, though Psych is just getting right to work. It was a nice little attempt, but even with the level 2 tag team of Gunner, the damage is lacking quite a bit.
And it is. They need to poke and prod from a distance a couple more times. They are wasting all of Saika's regen. He's already out, as again, he was poked down earlier. And it's a rather interesting one as well. Saika doesn't get a value point in Berserker's Rage, just opting to focus on the Axis. The increased stat resist is nice for the added slow, the added mischance. Duration as well is going to be pretty big, so that is something to watch out for. If you do actually fully commit outside of your spells, Saika's not going to be the easiest target as long as Toronto Tokyo gets a mirror image out with the deluge going.
So far 0-0, 4.5 minutes in. So pretty even kind of game so far between these two teams, at least in terms of kill score. Even the laning stage does seem substantially better than last game around, at least for Nouns. Copy's having a much better time on this mid-Razor comparatively to the mid-Quap he was playing last game. Meanwhile, GPK does take a bounty, or rather, excuse me, a water rune, and is going to make his rotation to the bounty. Meanwhile, Yuma does end up dying. Save able to secure the kill, as Save does eventually go down, but they didn't even need the rotation from GPK. It's just Save gets it done himself.
He does. Do manage to get that commitment. Again, Miro does not have anything like the Onslaught, so they're just playing off the Bat Rider. Flame Break and the spam and slows. They are getting a little bit of damage up top. Gunner's starting to drop fairly low.
It certainly is. Gunner still being chased down. The axes will slow him down just a little bit more, but Gunner's going to be okay. Toronto unable to continue chasing past the tier 1 tower. And all things being said and done, even though the lane did seem a little bit challenging, Gunner still has found some decent farm. While that's happening though, down at bottom lane, looks like GPK is thinking about a rotation. And he's making his move now. They do jump in for the onslaught. Yuma again being targeted, and he is certainly just dead. There is just no saving this Ursa. Save to pick up another kill on the Batrider. And Fly, I mean, he's still being chased down, but it doesn't really seem like they care for Fly. It'd be a mission to find that kill. They'd rather just not waste their time.
Yep. A little bit of a chase over to Bounty Runes as well to run through Tokyo. Getting poked pretty hard from Lelis.
Oh, he might be dead. The image is out. He's all right. Lelis doesn't want to deal with it. So your one saving grace right now is Copy finding a lot of farm. On the Razor, and Gunner's not doing too bad either. They're going to try and make the play on the Psyker. Top lane. They'd love a Troll Warlord kill. He's still level 5, but he's looking for a TB play out, and he's gonna make it.
Oh, no.
So close as well with the Centaur Conqueror, but just not quite close enough. As now bottom lane, they know Yuma's alone. But Save not going to dive in, as it seems like Miero's a little bit preoccupied with a creep wave.
Dire's top
And he
tower
is.
under attack.
Getting some farm going, has the phase boots up, not quite at 6. So no Pulverize up just yet. And good news for Nouns, even though they don't find the kill top, they will find the objective. Top tier 1 gone relatively early here, 7 minutes in. So they've got some extra room to finagle their way around, find some safe farm, contest a little bit further out, try to catch Saika off guard if he's not too careful here. I don't think BBT minds too much though. Again, they're getting steady build up for GPK. They've got the levels ramping up here for Miero. They'll be able to trade tier 1 bot now as well. No signs of defense coming out here from Nouns anytime soon. And you still need more items up anyhow from Nouns to really sustain. Like I mean, we're at the point where everyone just has power treads. Can be, it's still relatively early to think about deep commitment. They are looking at mid though.
Certainly looking at mid. Toronto, Tokyo. Well, this takes a bit of damage here from Lelis, but ultimately nothing to write home about. He'll be just fine to retreat. And it seems like Nouns are setting up for a nice little early push here in the mid-tier 1 tower. You've got GPK hanging around the tree line, but I highly doubt he'll be able to defend this on his own. No siege creep available, so it could just be a bit of chip damage to come out with this enchanted creep from Fly.
Dire's middle tower.
Though Save is rotating on the Batrider, and it seems like the defense is actually going to kind of work out. Bit of damage, but nothing to really worry about here for BBT.
Pretty heads up from GPK, just pulled the wave, cleared out safely away from these heroes. They spot out this rotation as well with some good defensive wards from the side of BBT, so you shouldn't be able to find Saika here either. And Nouns for their clump up aren't really finding anything. They are giving a ton of room out for Yuma to try to hit this farm timing with, say, the Battle Fury into the Blink BKB, but that's still a ways off as well. Our Ursa bottom network core, at the moment, only 500 gold above her Batrider support, so much more time before the Ursa becomes a factor in this game whatsoever. And which also means you don't need to worry about Roche anytime soon here for BBT.
Thinking about Yuma again down to that bottom lane, but Yuma's just too close to his tier 2 towers. Instead, we'll just secure their own stacks here. GPK and Save will go ahead and take care of their own. And net worth is still very close between these two sides, though. Just a 1k advantage is the way of BBT. Now, Yuma, I'm looking back at the Ursa's farm, like it's just not comparative to what we saw last game, where there was a Battle Fury at the 11-minute mark. He hasn't even really got one component of that Battle Fury yet, sadly, on the Ursa.
No, it's way far off.
Toronto, I mean, maybe they could secure a nice easy Naga kill, but it's not really proving to be that easy. Scanner, he'll try for the shards out, but Toronto just going to juke him and TP away. So no freebie here for Gunner, sadly. A very happy Toronto Tokyo getting away once again. And both sides seem more than happy to just play the slow game, it seems like, for game number 2. Obviously, for Nouns, I think they're more than happy to play this style of game, but I think I'm a bit more surprised by BBT. I thought after game 1 they'd be a little bit more assertive about this.
Yeah, it almost seemed like it, especially with, again, this full last pick for Saika into the Razor, just almost a full confidence pick. They are just opting to ramp up. I think it's also down to their supports, right? Like, you've got Naga support, you've got Batrider support. Neither one can really connect that easily or start these fights for you. You need to blink up on Save. You didn't have a runaway lane from Miero. It was a free lane, but Not something that where he completely stopped and got early timing, still waiting for his full blade mail as well. So there is some waiting to be done. It's now into the field, it's a little bit itchy to find a kill. They've been playing aggressively on the opposite side. Gunner though.
Top lane, Gunner. Gonna be an easy target, it seems like, for the side of BBT. Try to snowball away, TP out, and there is no easy target. Gunner is fine. Very, very nice TP play out as now Nouns, seeing the opening, do try to go for that tier 1 mid tower. With the siege creep available and the enchanted creep, it should be a pretty easy tier 1 to take. BBT, they are desperately trying to get within range to defend this, but the tier 1's basically gone. Maybe you can hope for a bit of a deny here. Not even that though.
Yeah. Pretty heads up from Nouns. They see all of that commitment up top. They know, they know with full confidence they can use that space to clear out mid. They even up the map control a little bit more. They've bought a ton of room out again for Yuma, who is starting to catch up, equalizing with Gunner's farm at the very least, and can start to scale from there. It's building up for now. So you've got the Yasha up in the copy, so you can start to chase around, probably going for, perhaps just looking for the standard Manta BKB sort of build here. And once you have that, you certainly have your play lined up. It's a bit of a smoke out from BBT. Blade mail up from Yarrow, so he can withstand the onslaught here. Just need to find a target in.
They're gonna find Fly. Keep in mind, that is an Ent you're trying to deal with. This could take a little bit of time. They'll pick him up and slam him down, and eventually Fly surely goes down, but he's still running, still healing. Meanwhile, Save, he's the one to drop. It's the classic Ent bait. They thought they could burst him down with so many heroes, but it just wasn't enough. Fly survives and Save will drop.
It's pretty big for now. They commit a lot of ultimates coming out there from BBT. Wukong's down for quite some time here on GPK. The Monkey King doesn't quite have damage yet, just the Javelin Gloves. Needs a full Maelstrom to really start to get some split, some farm across the map going even faster, and some threat in the Wukongs. Right now, it's just not there. Obviously, you're still not expecting anything from Saika, as he is also going into Battle Fury into the Ags, so not quite the full Ags rush we've been seeing in a few of the qualifiers. I think we saw that a lot in, again, Wallachia Season 2 qualifiers. It was something that was featured quite a fair bit. So just falling back into some steady build-up. I do love Nouns' position. They are pretty far here, though.
They should be able to kill Fly this time. But he is, again, very tanky. It might take a little bit of time. They'll jump in with the battle trance. They'll get it done. Fly is gone.
It's a lot of space though. Like I really like what Nouns are doing. They're just stalling this game, dragging all of this attention away from BBT. It feels like BBT is like a very angry, I don't know, like a bull, and Fly's just getting the target painted on his back. Bot lane has been entirely safe for Yuma. Copy's been farming, even Gunner's being able to work into this pipe timing to block off a lot of magical damage you're going to be pumping out here with Save and with Niero. So you have a lot of good answers for like this mid-game build-up that both teams are going for. Yuma, he's still not in the comfiest spot, but again, he's not that far behind any of these cores now. The margins are slim. And Nouns, if they can get into this Battle Fury timing, if they can get into Copy's Manta, take a fight into Roshan, that's where things start to really shine for Nouns and bouncing back in this game number 2.
I've found some ancient stacks here in the Dire jungle, or rather Dire triangle. Problem is Save has spotted this out. So they're very well aware this is happening, and in fact now the rotations do come in to ensure that none of the creeps will be handed the way of Nouns. There's no fight to really break out, so it seems like BBT unable to really close the gap to secure a kill. They'll still secure their own stacks though, so no problem. So, I mean, Saika's still staying ahead of the Ursa as well, so like, it just seems like the Troll Warlord still has that inherent advantage, plus the net worth advantage you're finding. And of course, Saika is just rushing the Ags now after the Battle Fury, and it's going to make life very hard for Nouns in terms of trying to deal with this Troll Warlord once he does have the Ags up.
Yeah. It becomes a little bit daunting as to how you try to actually burst down Saika. You can try to sap away his damage if Copy finds the angle down the line. And that's a lot of pressure on the Razor, of course, to get that perfect static link target, which might not be the easiest thing to find. At least Yuma has his Battle Fury. And again, considering this game, it's only about 900 gold behind. It's a huge improvement from game 1. I think at the least it's that. You're not too far behind. You can catch up through this Battle Fury. Again, with the Battle Fury up, Now it should start to think about controlling the map a little bit more, take some forward presence, try to set up for an objective or a fight into a kill as Miero.
They're getting caught out. Snowball will be there. This could be a pretty big pick-off for Nouns if they can catch him. And Miero, he's gone. They don't want to fight. No rotations to come in from BBT, so Nouns suddenly finding the highest net worth hero for BBT and taking him down quite easily.
Yeah, that's the kind of aggression they want here on Nouns. Again, they kill a high net worth target. They don't really manage to capitalize on the push, but they maintain control of the stop area. Like, this forward ward has been quite valuable for them. It's not going to be easily spotted out just yet by Toronto, although the courier should get that information down. They can start to open up the map, or at least prevent that deep movement from being as easy to line up here. Up top.
Gunner. Yeah, they've got the lasso. They've got the Wukong's command. They'll control Gunner for now. No Snowball to play with either, because he did commit it onto the creep wave, and he is gone. As soon as they saw that Snowball committed on the creep wave, it was an easy jump in. And sadly for Gunner, there was no way for him to buy time for his team to get there and save him. They are still around. They are still perhaps thinking about a fight, but BBT being quite respectful here and just backing out of there. Or are they? GPK still hanging around. Will pretend to be a tree, but it's rather obvious when you're moving GPK. It seems like now they aren't going to try and force anything. And Yuma has already backed off anyway. So has Copy. Back to the drawing board. But it's still less than 1k net worth lead the way of BBT. So it just the game is so even right now.
And it is. I will say it's starting to feel like Nouns can start to think about this rush timing a lot better than BBT. Again, Troll does have a little bit of that rush threat as well, but it hasn't felt like they've really worked the map out. Again, there was this entire bot area that Nouns were very comfy with, and Nouns were also invading the top jungle quite nicely, although and they get punished once or twice on fly, but it's an Enchantress, you don't really care. They are finding save now as well.
He's gonna try and juke through the Roshan pit, maybe a deny, but no, not quite. Copy will take him out. Another nice pickup here for Nouns, and now they can officially think about Roshan. Yuma's right around the corner, he'll just deal with the creep wave first. The question is, do BBT want to try and force a defense here for this Roshan play? I think the answer is probably going to be no. They may have just kind of accepted that against the Ursa they're going to lose this Roshan anyway. And it doesn't really seem like there's any urgency from BBT to try and get here and fight this one out.
Looks like they're kind of happy with just letting this go. Let the momentum carry through from Nouns. Their lineup does come online a lot faster in comparison to BBT. Like, even with like a Naga support, Toronto, Tokyo needs so much more to really have some impact. You need the mech, you kind of want your shard as well if you can find that. It's still going to take a lot of time until these ore items are up in your Naga to sustain through these engagements. The Ags isn't done yet in Saika. You're still working on the Gleipnir for GPK. You're working on the Ags Blink for Miero. A lot of things still need to come online. At the very least, the BKB's there for the Crown Beast, so he is secure in pulverizing one down, but doesn't quite feel like he has the durability yet to tank through everyone focusing on him.
Miero, shards, not gonna lock down the Primal. I mean, Nouns, they are certainly hunting. BBT definitely looking like the team that does not want any kind of fights. I mean, you do have the Ags almost up on Saika. He's only missing the Ogre Axe, so once that's available, perhaps they will try to make some plays here with their Troll Warlord. And he's still substantially ahead of the Ursa, just by about 1k. Yuma himself going to go for a BKB pickup here on the Ursa. Pretty standard.
Already has a blink to gap close as well. Love this little play from Nouns. They shove in mid, they instantly smoke, look for a flank. Might be able to get this collapse up top while they're trying to slowly siege onto that tier 1 here.
Oh, GPK, don't move, sir. He's all right for now. Yuma looking to jump in, but no, it was all a bait. Never mind. Yuma gone. GPK. Here we go again. They'll try for Toronto, but the song is popped. The TP away is there, and well, that'll be about it. I thought originally when GPK moved, I thought Nouns would be the ones to pounce, but they just weren't quite quick enough.
No. Took the long route through the top jungle instead of running through the river. Miss out on that opportunity to collapse a little bit quicker, and BBT get a good read, get some good punish. Find a very important here to keep shut down. Again, Yuma He's not that far behind, but he's not catching up and increasing or getting a lead for himself anytime soon here either. You still have this Aegis to play with from Copy at the very least. You can still frontline with a Razor, but honestly, it just feels like BBT does not care. They've got the full Ags up on Psycha. Going for the Manta style next. They're playing tag a little bit up top, but Nera is fairly durable. Does have the BKB again to back off. And we'll just hold steady. In a prolonged match, it's kind of hard to read which way this goes, as Psycha does battle trance clear out the Tormentor solo, as he's not fighting anyhow. But as it scales on, it's a little bit interesting in this match, as, well, you've got the scaling out from Monkey King and the Troll. You do have scaling with Razor as well.
Oh, he got caught. I didn't quite see that, but I believe Yuma just guessed the right tree and cut it down. So very nice pickup. I mean, GPK, that's your mid core going down here to the pos 1 of Nouns. Another nice bit of gold influx here for Yuma.
Yeah, it's a important one for the Ursa to find by himself. That's going to lead to a very nice BKB timing for Yuma. Not the quickest, but still going to be on time and in a good time. It's still about the recipe away, 1.2 Kuei gold away. Again, a very even game, a very low kill game. And the opposite of game 1, Mike. 5-5 at 22 minutes with a 1k lead. Last time, I think we were about 22-1 at that point, or 20-1 in game 1. So good news for now. Let's see if BBT can start to ramp up here with a smoke.
They want to go. Copy. Does he sense that something's wrong? It seems like he does. He backs off at the exact right moment. No pick off to be had. Not yet anyway. They'll try and roam up towards the top lane. Into the Radiant jungle they'll go. Yuma. Oh, he's farming that triangle. This could be very dangerous. GPK's keeping tabs. But this could be too far for BBT as well, don't forget. I mean, they are venturing pretty deep into Nouns territory. They'll go for that tier 1 top tower instead, but there is going to be a counter smoke now out from Nouns, knowing exactly where BBT are hanging about.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
But they've already found the tier 1 top tower, and well, this smoke, it starts to feel a little bit obvious.
It does. Let's see if they can still get that collapse. I mean, Aegis is starting to fade here from Copy.
Oh, we'll find Toronto. I mean, it's something. It's not really that big of a kill, but if you're Nouns, you'll take it.
Yeah, you'll take what you can get. If you're stalling out, again, the Naga full aura timing. And the mech is up, but the Guardian Greaves aren't going to come out anytime soon. Aegis does expire, so for BBT, they do manage to hold up against the Aegis timing quite nicely. Dodge out that big power spike from Nouns, still keep that scaling. On Psycha has the Yasha up. Manta not too far off, going for the Lincolns as well, just to protect from perhaps some instant control with, say, the Snowball or the Punch, or even just the Static Link. There are some ways to pop, but this can give the Troll a little bit more leeway as well from weaving in and out. Have your own auras up and ready on Nouns, full Guardian Greaves now for Lilith. See if they can... Oh.
Just look how tanky this hero is, man. It's just unbelievable. The Fly is still being chased. He finally goes down. The thing was, like, if his team was behind him, the amount of time he bought to allow a way into a fight is just unbelievable. But at the end of the day, nobody was there in time, as now Gunnar still hanging about, though the Boundless does miss, and he chops down the tree of GPK and pops the spray as well. Why the hell not? And once again, it's just runaway. No fight.
It's been a good game of cat and mouse so far, although BBT are starting to get a little bit hungry here. Pressuring onto the mid, 6-6. Again, we're getting the opposite ends here, Mike, in terms of games. See if they finally find a kill this time.
Here we go. Gunnar gets caught, and Snare will be there. A nice little shards block, though, going to make it very hard. And now GPK getting jumped here by Yuma, though the Enrage forced to be popped here by Yuma, as he does need to retreat. They're still trying for the MK, but Yuma cannot keep up, as now Copy. It's complete chaos in the mid lane, but Save is gone. They've lost the Batrider. They might even lose Psycha if the battle trance runs out, and it might very, very soon. But no, the song, Toronto, he buys the time. Psycha's out of there. Toronto, he'll be the one being left behind. They still lose 2 supports. It's not a great fight for BBT, but at least they get the big ones out.
That they do bail out all of the cores. It looked like a decent fight that they could have started off of, but Nouns were very ready this time around. They had their saves ready. It's really hard to pin down Gunnar with his pipe, because this Tusk is starting to be a little bit of a slippery issue. You've got two really tanky heroes that can front that aren't like necessary for you to fully commit on for now. It's like if Fly gets caught, you don't care too much if there's no opportunity because it's an Ench. If Gunnar gets caught out, he has Snowball with Blink to save himself. He has the pipe to sustain True as well. So he's not really at risk of just getting 100 to 0'd. I think BBT have to find a way to get bigger lassos out from save. They need to be able to find these big targets. We are seeing at least some ways of kiting copy around with the BKB Pierce on Pulverize. Not always the easiest thing to find here from Yarrow. And that is the one thing that BP has to play off of. It's save with Blink Lasso and Miero with whoever he decides to pulverize down here.
Top lane. Looks like they might run into save. There is vision around this area though from BBT, so this could be a very nice fight to force, and they are going to try. Onto Fly they'll go. They want the Ench first, but Fly is just tanking through it once again. It's now GPK, copping too much damage. Still trying to man up here in his Wukong's command, but so is Gunnar. GPK, he's out of damage now with that static link. He needs to get out. Still Gunnar going very deep, but he will be able to blink out. Nobody dies yet. In goes Yuma once again on Toronto, but Toronto is able to walk out of there thanks to the Boundless of GPK. And BBT now, the ones to retreat, as Nouns are still looking to force the fight. But nobody's... Oh, I say nobody's left. Yuma's still having a hunt around. GPK is still there, but they will not find him.
Rather unfortunate for BBT. They don't manage to get the big lasso target they'd want. Isolating Fly really doesn't do much. Like, this Ench has proven time and time again, if you're not connecting with your Primal Beast with a trample, and the Ench is just not going to die fast enough for you to capitalize. And unfortunately for Miero, and very fortunate for Nouns, he did get distracted by Copy's illusions, ended up pulverizing on the side to try to stun in the Wukong's AoE. I don't think it reached on for the most part. So very good news for Nouns. They get the 2k lead on top. They get another Roshan for free with a banner. You can start to consider more aggressive plays going forward. This should allow BBT to reset their cooldowns. Song will be back up for Toronto Tokyo. He's doing a great job of just ensuring mid pressures there. So the Naga split push is there to at least stall out in some of these objectives despite having the Aegis. But now I certainly do feel like they are getting in control of this game. BBT, the initiation angles have not been clean. At least they have a source of break now with Miero. With the full Ags up, could help out if you are jumping Fly this time.
There you go. Down towards the bottom lane. T2 tower will be targeted by Psyker. And keep in mind, they're fighting against the Aegis now, but Nouns are not looking to try and defend this. So Gunner's picked up his Desolator now, so you've got a lot of right-click potential here with the Tusk. Nouns looking to head through the mid lane. BBT will see if they want to try and defend. So it seems like Nouns are going to pressure this tier 2 mid tower, and well, in fairness, the mid tier 2 is just about to fall anyway. So it is basically already gone. Nouns will go ahead and take care of it. Do you want to try high ground? I mean, you do have a Roshan banner plus an Aegis.
BBT's going high ground.
Oh, BBT's going high ground. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, we do have the creep wave at the top tier 3 at the very least, Jonathan. They'll back him. That'll be enough.
They do a lot of chip damage from that tier 3. If a full commitment does come in and Psyka decides not to join in, with Toronto Tokyo just shoving one lane in, he could just make a beeline for bot and just kind of even out the game that way. I like that coverage out from BBT. Seeing the Roche, knowing that the mid tier 2 would still hold, knowing how fast they can push. With a Troll, does give them a little bit of an access point later on. Nouns looking for a smoke out. No forward vision this time to try to spot out BBT though.
Mid lane. I mean, they could go for Miero if he does show on the creep wave, but nobody wanting to venture that far for that farm. Gunnar will reveal his position, so a pretty obvious smoke now for BBT to just kind of wait out. Line's being drawn through the top lane, so they might actually try to pressure this top tier 3 tower. But now it does feel like they really want to pick off before they try to venture to that high ground, but BBT are just not providing the openings. Like it's still 8-6 with a 1k advantage, and we're 31 minutes in basically. No openings really being provided.
No. Again, it's the complete opposite of last game. 8-6. No one going double digits just yet. Half an hour in.
I may have just jinxed.
Smoke.
Happy days.
Oh,
Here we go.
good job, Mike.
No, I not. I double jinxed. Jump in. Oh, I triple jinxed it. Here we go. We're onto the race. Copy's gone, but so is Toronto Tokyo. Onto the edge. Fly is also dead. Gunner. Chase is on. Gleipnir is going to land from GPK. Nice shards block from Gunner once again, but the chase will continue. Yuma's right around the corner though. He's thinking about forcing the fight, and he will jump in. They'll try for Miero first on the Primal Beast. Yuma, he'll pop the BKB. Still trying. Gunner somehow still alive. Finally goes down. Yuma still looking for a target. Will chase down Psyker, but he's just too fast on the troll. They just kite out the Ursa. So they'll lose Gunner. They'll lose Fly. They lost Copy, and he brought back to make matters worse. A pretty big fight here for BBT.
Yeah, it works out in their favor. Get perfect target to start on. Finding Copy in that smoke. It's a big target you really need to take care of. You can counteract two of your cores. It makes it very uncomfy for Saika and for GPK to try to play their games if the Razor is just alive. So they just take that out of the picture, force the buyback, stall out this butterfly timing as well for Copy, just a little bit. And he's going to make things a little bit tougher in terms of trying to scale up. And for the side of Nouns, again, they've been the ones posturing, trying to play across the river, find these pickoffs. They might be a little bit concerned about scaling, especially since you're not going for like a refresh Razor, right? Like the butterfly will allow you to man up against a lot of these hits from BBT. And again, physical output of the troll and the monkey aren't necessarily going to always hammer in onto the Razor at that point. But it feels like the late game Razor threats from like refresh, double BKB, double static link, and just running around being a maniac, sapping away your core damage from that point. The butterfly is not that same play. I think this is much more tempo heavy and Copy, trying to utilize this early advantage, mid-game advantage they've built up off and try to win a couple fights into endgame. If it falls flat here, that could give BBT a much better chance in scaling up, knowing that refresh is not going to be up for a long time with his build.
Another big smoke up here. BBT running right towards Copy. This will be a dieback on Copy if he does get caught out. It seems like they will avoid him instead, rather looking at Gunner now down to that bottom lane, and they're going to find Fly instead. A little bit unfortunate. Oh no, they found both. Save will spot out Gunner as well. That'll be a double. The 2-for-1 special. BBT, I mean, it's just kind of back to the farm game, I suppose, right? It's just no need to rush.
No.
They know what they're doing.
And they can keep that build up. Again, it feels like with the double core of Monkey Troll, you're kind of banking on your Razor to nullify these cores. Again, Copy going for the butterfly somewhat counteracts them. At the same time, it only allows you to really focus one down. It gives a lot of leeway for either GPK or for Saika, depending on who's not static linked, to actually just play the game. You do have the full Abyssal Blade up on Yuma, so you can just stun up whoever's left alone and just try to focus one target at a time at that point, or just split the fight up. That kind of utility while the other core is trying to break static link. You have that kind of setup for yourself now in Nouns, but BBT have taken over on net worth, 4k advantage. Not the biggest lead at 35 minutes in. Nouns certainly not behind by too much of a margin here at the very least. Most of this net worth differential is coming from how underfarmed Gunner is. Like, he has been a little bit more of the sacrificial off lane. Again, going for a hybrid ore build-up on Tusk. He's got the Dessa with no charges up. With the BKB, perhaps that's when he can start to get more charges in. Maybe even start to consider something like the Ags being picked up to try to reposition these heroes as well. Be one way for Nouns to simplify these fights going forward here.
BBT, they're posturing once again around this top lane. Maybe just getting set up for the next Roshan attempt. You do have Nouns grouped up as well. They are indeed just checking the Roshan pit here, BBT, just in case. The Roshan's still not going to even tell us when it respawns for another 40 seconds. There's your butterfly up on copy, so we'll see if that does make any form of difference here in this next fight. So they are going to smoke up. The Naga illusions to come in. Copy will make it pretty obvious they are smoked though. Does BBT want this fight is the question. Fly will move forward. Miro gonna break the smoke on Yuma. I don't believe Yuma actually saw him. They'll try to get some D wards off here. Miro though still frontlining for his side. Neither side wants to pull the trigger. We're just having a bit of a standoff here at this top lane, it seems. More wards placed here by BBT. Lasso, it's on an illusion. Unfortunate. It's all right. I mean, there's just so many illusions. You've got to try one of them. In goes Fly. Yuma, he's going to make the jump in. They'll try for Miero on the Primal Beast, but the BKB is already out, and now the Pulverize has been committed. Still Yuma having a decent old time, as now the song has been committed from Toronto Tokyo, looking to try and move in onto Copy, who's getting annihilated by Saika. There goes Gunner to boot. Both of them just destroyed, as everybody else from now is just trying to dissipate but save, continuing to chase Yuma, who does end up killing him off, but Yuma is certainly just set to fall. There is no help around. And an unfortunate fight for Nouns now as BBT finding a very good fight, and Roshan, it's up in 30 seconds.
It's a big timing for BBT, and that's probably the best way for that fight to go out for BBT, right? They use Lasso and an illusion, and I feel like that's now its opportunity. Instead, it falls flat. Yeah, you get this big song to bail out. You get the isolation with Pulverize out onto the Ursa while he's BKB'd and committing. You static link the Primal Beast instead of any of the two cores. So Saika and GPK just don't care. And again, because Saika shoved in bot, it's going to be a really easy process to take care of these tier 3s. One fort already used up. Doesn't take too long for the troll to just clear these objectives by himself.
Max, Saika doing it himself. They'll jump in with the kick, or rather the punch. The battle trance was already there from Saika, is now, well, it's looking pretty rough for Nouns. They've already looking to lose Gunner, and they do. Saika barely survives all of them. The battle trance just in the nick of time here from Saika as Lelis is being hunted in his fountain, forced to back off. Bottom Rax is gone, and that's going to be enough for BBT.
Yeah, can go back, just take Roshan. They should know the spawn time is relatively soon. Saika's going to go back up top, check it out after clearing out some camps.
Oh, Yuma does clean up save. It's a nice little kind of pick off onto a straggler on his way out. It's just not changing the game though, is it? Like, you're 11k behind now as Nouns. You've lost a Rax. You're losing Roshan as we speak. And even though BBT just played a very, very slow game, it really has felt like they've been in control.
And it has. See if Nouns can find an angle in. They did smoke up here, but the smoke breaks under the Watcher.
Copy. Gonna get pulverized here by Miero, and it looks like his team was not really prepared for the fight, though he did at least get his BKB off. Still running. Saika, he's popped the battle trance, chasing very, very deep, but he's got the Aegis up. Not anymore though, it is down. Has Saika gone too far? Miero will try to jump in, but Yuma, he's right on the troll. Saika pops the BKB and tries to run. Even the song being committed, he'll survive, and now they're all locked down. The Onslaught in, the Ursa in huge trouble. Gunner indeed also in trouble. They both drop.
Oh, God.
A double kill for Miero. Copy to drop to boot. Miero getting tipped throughout all of this as they've even found themselves an Ench. And I believe I just saw Yuma buy back.
Yes.
A little bit unfortunate.
Very unfortunate for the side of Nouns. BBT, I mean, it almost looked like they were just losing their minds for a moment. Saika running forward, popping battle trance early, losing the Aegis just like that. You know, looking like he was getting impatient with this game, but it works out. Toronto Tokyo saves the day. Great song. You gotta love that. Naga Siren shards that, you know, when it was fresh, I was like, oh, it's a very fun shard. And, well, we've been seeing a lot of it over the years now as well. And that's just going to be straightforward high ground again. Saika's got the damage to dig through all of the objectives for the MKV. Last fortify to kick in here. At the least, Mega Creeps aren't going to be coming in, and respawns are relatively short. You should still be able to hold up with one lane to yourself here on Nouns. But BBT blow this game wide open, 11-19, 2TK lead up for themselves. And the side of Nouns, well, it's really rough for Copy, right? Like, he's running in, he's always static linking Miero, and he's not really able to focus down and try to find Saika, try to find GPK to static link to take out one of these cores from the equation. And that's where all these issues come in. Like, once they see that commitment onto Miero, GPK and Saika are just like, all right, we'll go in. We've got damage. We don't need to care about Razor. He's not even, you know, dealing with us. Well, what worries do they have if they're not static link targets?
That's a fair point, John. It has been pretty rough here for Copy. Not the ideal Razor game, that's for sure. Now a Swift Blink available on Saika, so things got even worse here for Nouns as Copy's just being watched at the moment. They'll even beat. I say Swift Blink. Save just picked up an Aghanim Scepter. Double Lasso available. Up towards the top lane they'll go. Smoke on smoke scenario, but this could be Nouns' last team fight. If they can't make this one work, the game is basically as good as done. Lasso is out. Who have they caught? It's gonna be Lilith. Snap fire down. Miero, he's in. Copy. He'll be alright for now. The Pulverize was cancelled. Copy though, where's he going? The Razor, he'll head up north, but it's not the way to go. He is dead. Meanwhile, Gunner's just trapped in the tree line by the looks of it, as Yuma's going to try and force another fight, but really gets nothing out of it. BKB's being forced out, but it's not doing anything. Meanwhile, Gunner has been spotted on the tree line. Chase on. He'll blink away back towards the south, but Toronto's right behind him. Here comes Save to boot, and Gunner is gone. There's two down without buyback here for now.
Yeah. And that should just be the last of the racks to go here for BBT to take. Again, Yuma could not afford to die. He bought back a while ago. He's going to have to try to just hold out here as Tree. I don't see the angle. I think without that...
So again, it's a double lasso. A double lasso from Save, and that'll about do it. GG is called. Nouns have seen enough. You know, positive is game 2 was a lot closer, but at the end of the day, BBT certainly proving to be the much better team here today, at least in their series up against Nouns Esports. And I'm sure they'll be leaving their room very, very happy after that one.
That they will be. Game 1, a little bit more, of course, of a complete stop. A complete shutout from BBT. Game 2 being a lot more even now to correct and draft. They had supports that could play the lanes a little bit better.